Like and subscribe, and you'll have amazing luck for the rest of the week. Humans have experienced pandemics that killed thousands within a few months. We invented mind-blowing technology, visited space, flown planes, and conquered virtually all aspects of life. Despite these achievements, we also try out some dumb stuff to see how it plays out. How else do you explain how an adult wants to hide inside a wash machine? Or how do we condone the news that an adult chooses to fit into a baby swing? These 15 people were stuck in strange places. Please don't move a muscle. Number 15. A washing machine. Sometimes the game of hide and seek can get crazy. This is the story of a man who lived in Melbourne, Australia. In 2014, he climbed into his washing machine fully nude to surprise his partner. Unfortunately, he couldn't get out after the prank. Rescuers greased him with a liberal application of olive oil to make him slimy enough to pull out. After the incident, the authorities warned that it was risky for people to climb in their appliances, but not many people heeded the warning. The following year, another man was found inside his washing machine. The entire unit had to be disassembled to get him out. Number 14. A baby swing. If your adult friends ever challenge you to fit into a baby swing, it would help if you don't accede to their demands. This warning is for your own good. A Californian man tried the dare in 2011 and managed to slide into the seat using a liquid detergent. While he got in easily, he couldn't get out. His legs began to swell, and his friends abandoned him to his fate overnight. He wasn't rescued until 9 hours later when a groundskeeper heard him scream in pain the following morning. The rescue team managed to get him out of there, and he swore never to take a dare from his friends, who would later abandon him. Number 13. A chimney. Sometimes you have to take uncalculated risks in life. While some yield positive results, others only worsen the situation. In 2016, an Arizonian homeowner locked his house, but forgot the keys inside. It didn't occur to him that the best option was to break the door and change the keys. He felt entering the house through the chimney was a smart idea. He almost made it, but as the saying goes, it ain't over till it's over. His feet were already touching the floor of the fireplace, but the space became too narrow to allow him to glide through. So he was stuck and couldn't get out until 4 hours later. Firefighters pulled him out through the roof that was covered in soot. Number 12. A claw machine. Every child hopes to be immersed in their best toys and play with them all day long. Whenever they visit parks, it feels like they're at home or that the moment should last forever. 3-year-old Jamie Bracken Murphy from Ireland crawled through the small flap from which the toys can be retrieved and found himself in a claw machine. The child was on display for about 10 minutes, but his parents had no idea where the little one was. Murphy was rescued by an off-duty fireman who coaxed him back to where he came from. The child's father wasn't surprised when he heard what had happened, as he knows his child to be naughty and exploratory. Number 11. A traffic cone. Sometimes I wonder how people get inspiration for what they do. In 2013, Hemmel thought that it'd be cool to wear a traffic cone on his head. He probably wanted to know what it feels like to be a yellow Santa, and this cone was going to do the magic. To his dismay, the cone slid past his shoulders, thereby engulfing his body. John, a passerby, was on the ground to capture the moment. It was scary at some point, as the man could have died from suffocation. It took about 2 hours before anyone called the police. Hemmer had learned one life lesson that would stick with him forever. Number 10. A cement hopper. Illinois was the city where the construction site in this clip is cited. There was a cement mix-up and an unidentified man was trapped inside the cement hopper. The worker wanted to clean it, and the only way to do that was to get in. The naive cleaner found his way in, but was stuck when the residual cement on the machine's floor began to harden around his legs. It became a problem for him and his colleagues, who tried to get him out to no avail. It took the intervention of firefighters to finally get him out of the hopper. He was taken to the hospital to be treated for minor injuries, but released the same day because it didn't cause so much harm. Number 9. A toilet. You'd expect that only a toddler should be trapped in a toilet. But you could be wrong. In 2016, a Norwegian Larson got into trouble after he tried lowering himself into a public toilet to retrieve a friend's phone. The tank was located under the seat, meaning there wasn't enough space for an adult to be trapped in it. To make matters worse, The tank was connected to a sewage system that was emptied periodically, and it was full of waste. Aside from the unbearable smell that came from the hull, he was bitten by an unknown animal. He remained in a state of hopelessness until the authorities came to his rescue. The thankful man said it was the worst experience in his life. Number 8. A giant stone vagina. Residents of Tübingen, Germany know about Chalk and Pie, a giant stone sculpture of a vagina created by Fernando de la Jara. The edifice sits outside the Tübingen University's Institute for Microbiology and Virology. It attracts viewers from across the globe, especially curious tourists who are desperate to know what's inside. In 2014, an American student wanted to know what was inside the 32-ton carving. In fact, he wanted to take a picture of the interior. Unfortunately, he was trapped but was later rescued by 22 firefighters. Some say the rescuers are midwives as they deliver the man from the artificial vagina. Number 7. Roller coaster. Riding on a roller coaster is everyone's wish after a long week or month. It's a perfect time to cool off and bond with the family and friends. Have you ever thought of the worst thing that can happen while riding? Yes, an incident can occur. But what else? You could get stuck in it for hours. In this scenario, 18 Chinese roller coaster passengers were stuck in the worst position ever as the ride broke down. How does one sit upside down for hours? This was the case as they had to remain in an upside-down position until repair workers could identify the problem and get them out of there. Number 6. Buckle up. Getting stuck in a roller coaster feels like something you have no control over. But a seatbelt? Maybe you can do something about it without calling for help. However, this teenage girl was stuck in a seatbelt and there was nothing she could do. It happened that she fell asleep in the car, and when she reached her destination and was ready to alight, the seatbelt thought otherwise. It was stuck and refused to let go. Despite her efforts in freeing herself, it didn't work. She had to call the cops to help her out of the situation. Number 5. Sunken treasure. This is another case of one's valuables getting swallowed by a toilet. How far can you go to retrieve an item you value so much? Please tell us in the comment section below. It's unclear why this lady took her gold bracelet to the toilet, but somehow it came tumbling and crashed into the toilet. She put her hand inside to get it, but realized that she couldn't pull it out. She was forced to dial the emergency number, and thankfully volunteers came to her aid. The toilet had been removed and broken to free her hand. Number 4. Child behind bars. Children love to try out new things regardless of how risky it is. Too bad they don't even know when their lives are at risk. So how do they make healthy decisions? There's no way to gauge that. This child in this image is in a playground and probably tired of all the toys there. When he saw a bar-like door, he felt it was time to switch and try something new. He made his head through one of the openings, and that was it. He was stuck and couldn't get his head out. The naughty person in the background is more interested in capturing the moment before thinking of how to rescue the toddler. Number 3. Barney the dinosaur. Here's another case of a prank gone wrong, even though it wasn't that deadly. This Alabama teenager wanted to prank his friends by wearing a big Barney the dinosaur head. She anticipated the much-desired reaction of suspense and fear from them. Little did she know the tables would turn. Moments after putting the head on, she realized that it was stuck, and she couldn't get it off. This was unfair to her because her friends would meet her struggling with the head and uncover her plans. And to our best pick, there's a thin line between life and death. What many people endure for days have killed others within a few minutes. How do you explain that someone who finds himself between two mighty rocks holds on to life for the next 4 days? Keep watching. Number 2. Stuck between two rocks. Mountain climbing isn't for the faint of heart. Most of the time, people who get in trouble there don't get help in time because of the distance to the ground. This 28-year-old Colombian was lucky to get another shot at life after he slipped from the rock and landed between two rocks, where he stayed for 4 days. He was hunting for bat droppings when the incident happened. Locals sell this waste product and fertilizers to farmers, so people like him gather it for sale. It took 200 rescue workers to break the other rocks into smaller bits until they reached him. The rescue took about 10 hours, after which he was rushed to the hospital for treatment. Talk about a rock and a hard place. Number 1. Hungry girl. How far would you go sourcing for food? And what's your ideal hunger mood? For me, I'm angry and distracted until I'm handed a plate of my favorite meal. The girl in this footage got it all wrong and wanted food at all costs. But even if one was desperate for food, shouldn't an eatery be the best place to take out your frustration? This young lady who doesn't understand how the supermarket works tries to get into another counter from the preceding one. She could have easily moved to the other section to get the items in her cart, but she wanted to have everything at once. There you have it. These are the 15 times people found themselves stuck in weird places. Have you been in a situation where you needed to call for help before getting out? How did it play out? Please tell us in the comment section below. If you're new here, do us a favor and like, subscribe, and tick that little bell. Until another scintillating episode, adios.